Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, you're on to CoreTV Primetime News. I'm Nifemi Oguntoye. Our top stars. President Muhammadu Buhari mourns late Emir of Bogo, Aliyu Dantoro. The Coalition for Campaign Against Corrupt Leaders called for a probe of the Abuja CCTV project. Thousands of residents of the Federal Capital Territory join 50-kilometer cancer awareness walk. Outside Nigeria, 224 people perish in crashed Russian airliner in the Egyptian region of Central Sinai. Glad to have you join us on the show tonight. President Muhammadu Buhari on Saturday said it's with sadness and a deep feeling of personal and national loss that he received the news of the death of the Emir of Bogo, Aliyu Dantoro III. In a statement by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the president extended condolences to the bereaved on behalf of himself and the federal government. Buhari says he particularly commiserated with the late Emir's family and the people of Bogo Emirate, over whom he said the deceased ruled for many years with commendable wisdom, benevolence, and an uncommon dedication to duty. The president also commiserated with the government and people of Niger State on the death of the traditional ruler, who is said would be long remembered and honored for his notable contributions to the development of his community, state, and country. While reactions continue to trail the outcome of the governorship elections petition tribunal in Rivers and other states, Governor Nyesom Wike has his election annulled by the tribunal, while his Delta State counterpart Ifeanyi Okowa had his upheld. In this report, our correspondent Jamil Afegwa sought views of some politicians on the development.
The general elections are long gone, and all the political structures have taken or are taking shape. But for some states, the battle for electoral positions are still on. The electoral law stipulates tribunals to be set up where there are grievances, and these tribunals are just about rounding up or disposing cases. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State retained his seat following the dismissal of cases filed by two of his main contenders, Great Ogboru of the Labour Party and the All Progressive Congress candidates, Ortega Omero. But by far the most outstanding of these tribunal cases is that of Rivers State, where Governor Nyesom Wike and 21 members of the State Assembly have also had their elections annulled. This has caused a reaction from certain political quarters.
Well, my thinking is that the tribunals are doing their job. And you know, judgment is something that is mainly technical. So if you are not in the tribunal, you may not understand what is really happening. And whoever petitions must prove before the court or before the tribunal whether his case has merit or not.
INEC itself, and I think the tribunal itself, are they sincere? Is he employed to sabotage the democracy that we are practicing? for us to be able to have a successful and good governance, all of us must remember that we must come collectively, regardless of our political affiliation. This issue of tribunal, tomorrow here, next tomorrow there, what are we talking about?
Allegations are rife about influences from President Muhammadu Buhari on the tribunals, as some Nigerians, especially supporters of the People's Democratic Party and supporters of the candidate themselves, claim there was influences.
The party expects the judiciary as an institution to restore its image by taking immediate measures to protect itself from political interferences, as well as ensure that needed steps are taken at the appellate levels to remedy the embarrassing ruling by some of the election petition tribunals.
Since before he was elected, he said he will make sure there is an independent judicial system and the police and other security, because he don't want any involvement in the issue of tribunals, judiciaries, and even us legislative. You can heard him when we are about to elect the speaker. He said he is not involved himself, and he lets us choose our speaker.
The judiciary has severally been accused of injustices where it comes to electoral petitions. But some legislators and politicians are quick to dismiss this, saying the judges are doing their jobs.
I recall very well that when the same judiciary allowed 6 of the Federal House of Representatives members' petitions in Rivers to stand, they all jubilated and praised the judiciary. Now the same judiciary has also said that the governorship election should be rerun and has 10 houses of assembly, and they now say it is not good.
Everybody knows what has happened, particularly in Rivers State, in Akwa Ibom, and in some other few states, where violence took the center stage, and in most cases the election did not take place. Even immediately after the election, all the reports from journalists, from observers, both domestic and international observers, they were on the same page.
As the nation awaits the final developments in the electoral cases, Nigerians believe and hope that all these processes are only leading to better ways of holding elections in the country in the future. Jamil Afegwa, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, River State Governor Nyesom Wike has declared that he has absolute confidence and respect for the judiciary to do justice in the state governorship legal tussle, pointing out that based on the April 11 election, his mandate will be upheld in the course of the appeal process. Speaking at the stakeholders meeting at the Government House, Port Harcourt, Wike advised the people of the state never to criticize judges despite the judicial setback, pointing out that the appeal process will correct the judicial opinion of the state tribunal. Governor Wike dissociated himself from a statement from one of his aides describing the tribunal judgment as judicial terrorism and gang-up. He said the aide had no mandate to issue such a statement, noting that as a lawyer, he respects the judiciary and knows the appellate process to seek redress. Meanwhile, youths have taken over the streets of Imo State capital Owerri to celebrate the victory of the state governor, Rochas Okorocha, at the Supreme Court in the case brought by Emeka Ihedioha of the People's Democratic Party challenging his election as governor. Our correspondent Ajibade Awofesa has details in this report.
Youths in their hundreds took to the streets in solidarity march, chanting pro-Rocha songs. The popular Owerri city was taken over by celebration at every corner, even in the governor's absence. The deputy chief of staff who addressed the youths at the government house premises reiterates the governor's support for the Imolites youth.
The fundamental achievement of His Excellency. You can see people celebrating the infrastructural inputs of the government to the people of the state. You can see people celebrating the victory of a governor who has done so well for the people of Imo State.
Some of the youth who came around wore PDP regalia, demonstrating high level of oneness. Honorable Kingsley Uju also took time to call on all Imolites to shun politics of bitterness and embrace unity for the ultimate growth of the state.
Well, we advise our brothers and sisters in the other side of the politics, the opposition party. I will advise them to join hands and close rank with the government of the day, because this is the only means through which development and achievements of and policies of the government will be adequately guaranteed.
However, on the part of the youth, the celebration still continues, not just for victory alone, but also in appreciation to Governor Rocha's good works. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
A civil society group coalition against corrupt leaders has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to prevail on anti-graft agencies to investigate the failed 76 billion naira closed-circuit television project in the Federal Capital Territory. The group, in a statement made available by its executive chairman, Debo Adeniro, called for a thorough investigation of the project, which was initiated in 2010 by late President Umaru Yar'Adua. Adeniro said Abuja has recently come under a series of deadly attacks, and the CCTV cameras installed across the city have failed to pick up images of the perpetrators of such attacks. The statement described the project as a colossal wastage of the nation's resources and called for the prosecution of people who have illegally benefited from it. Well, back to reactions now to the confirmation of ministerial nominees by President Muhammadu Buhari. There are people talking about the number of women, the ratio rather, of women to men on the ministerial list under the president's administration. Our correspondent Emmanuel Ajayi was on the street of Lagos to sample opinions about this development.
The role of women in nation building cannot be overemphasized. It could be recalled that under the administration of the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, appointed 13 female ministers in the quest for more women representation in governance. Throughout the 8 years in office of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, appointed only 9 female ministers. Late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua had 7 female ministers in his cabinet. Is there a decline with the present list of female ministers? Nigerians react on the ratio of 6 women to 30 men on the ministerial list.
We have not been given the fair share that we're supposed to be giving. Women are the nation builders, apart from family builders. So I believe women can add positively to the development of this nation.
They don't carry our women along. They are carried both their men along. Because if they carry 10, if they need the 10 people now, supposed to carry 6 women, 4 men. But this our Nigeria now, they know they do like that. They just carry the men. If they need 20 people, they'll carry men 15, women 5. And that's what they do for this Nigeria. Our blood, they know they do like that.
Will the high ratio of men in the list bring better performance? These Nigerians are quite optimistic on the number of men, saying they will uphold the change mantra of the president.
Last time, majority of the ministers were women. So I think now men should at least be given a chance to do politics too.
So you're quite comfortable that we just have 6 out of 6?
Kind of.
At least since they have started with 6, we hope that tomorrow we'll have equal of it.
As Nigerians anxiously wait for minister designate to be given portfolios, it is expected that they will perform beyond the expectations of Nigerians. Emmanuel Ajayi, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Florence Itagiwa, former wife of the late editor-in-chief of Newswatch magazine, Dele Giwa, has reacted to the recent remarks made by the former Deputy Inspector General of Police, Chris Omaben, that the late Giwa was careless in maintaining a relationship with his former wife, insisting that he has no apologies for having a good relationship with the late journalist, despite their separation, which was amicable. Omaben, who clocked 80, was in charge of investigating the murder of the late journalist in 1986. Reacting to Omaben's remarks through a media liaison assistant, Jonathan Eze, Itagiwa described comments credited to Omaben as indicative of a mind rapidly progressing into dementia. and of someone who is desperately trying to cover up his incompetence with regards to the case. Itagiwa denied the allegation that a houseboy was the one who delivered the letter bomb to the late Giwa. 2 mobile courts sitting in Benin have convicted 95 people for various sanitation offences in the state monthly environmental sanitation exercise. Chief Magistrate Iheye Agbediofe convicted 60 people of Kilometer 6, while Magistrate Osamu Diame Afe convicted 35 people at Orado. While some were convicted for not participating in the exercise, the others were convicted for wandering and obstructing sanitation officials from discharging their duties. The presiding magistrate sentenced the accused persons to various terms of imprisonment or an option of fines of between 5,000 naira and 7,000 naira, respectively. The chief prosecution, Pius Ower, advised the people to always obey sanitation laws in order to avoid conviction. We'll take a break now, and I'll be back with more stories. Do join us again.
It's a new dawn in Nigeria, and the mantra is change. The wind of change is blowing all over Nigeria and beckons to you. One sure way to respond is to perform your civic duty, pay your tax. With taxes, government generates revenue to fulfill its electoral promises, ensure regular power supply, provide good security, standard education, medical care, through total change. Individuals and corporations enjoy specific benefits, rights and privileges for paying taxes and avoid the consequences and penalties of not paying. Oil revenue is no longer sufficient to bring desired change, but your tax can. It pays to pay your tax. A message from the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to our husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Also, some people will strong for Yoruba land, will be strong man, you don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Welcome back. You're on to CoreTV Primetime News. Another look at our top stars. President Muhammadu Buhari mourns late Emir Bogo Haliru Dantoro. Also in this program, the Coalition for Campaign Against Corrupt Leaders call for a probe of the Abuja CCTV project. Thousands of residents of the Federal Capital Territory join 50-kilometer cancer awareness walk. You can get all of our top stories on any of our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle is at CoreTV News NG. We're streaming live on YouTube at youtube.com/CoreTV with a space and names. The federal government has filed charges against the former Minister of Niger Delta State, Gatse Peter Orubebe, for alleged false declaration of assets and acceptance of about 70 million naira bribe. The 4-count charge filed on behalf of the Attorney General of the Federation by Peter Danladi of the Code of Conduct Bureau on October 8 this year is currently pending before the Code of Conduct Tribunal. Already the CCT has fixed November 9 for Orubebe's arraignment. The former minister is charged in counts 1 and 2 with failing to declare his ownership of 2 properties in Abuja. CCT's head of press and public relations, Ibrahim Alassane, confirmed that a charge was pending against Orubebe before the tribunal. and that the ex-minister was served with the charges on October 29. He said the tribunal had scheduled a River-based arraignment for November the 9th. Abuja residents came out in droves to participate in the Walk Away Cancer Trek in commemoration of the World Cancer Week. The more than 50-kilometer walk is meant to raise awareness on the ravaging reality of the scourge and are pointed to exercise as one way of maintaining a healthy body. Organizers of the walk and wife of the Kebbi State Governor Aisha Bagudu says regular and early detection is a big plus for treatment and management of the disease.
They came from all walks of life for what the organizers have tagged Walk Away Cancer. This, they say, is because many Nigerians have in recent times succumbed to it. Majority of people think that cancer is a disease of the rich, but attention has also been on the women folk. This is the Walk Away Cancer Trek, and in this trek of creating awareness on the realities of cancer, the focus is on breast cancer, mammogram, and cervical cancer. But is cancer really a female thing?
Cancer affects men, women. Agreed, 50% of the cancer that occurs in Nigeria is in women. That is breast and cervical cancer.
Over 4 million albinos are also susceptible to skin cancer. Our own death is almost triple that number that you're giving me.
The death rate due to cancer is alarming, and there are concerns about the near lack of cure and the medical human capacity and equipment to handle patients in the country. This vacuum has resulted in huge revenue loss in medical tourism to countries like India and the United States, where Nigerians seek treatment.
Our resources, both in terms of human and other resources, are not yet developed to the stage that could cope with the scourge of cancer.
The centers, the treatment centers, and the centers that have the linear accelerators that can give radiotherapy in Nigeria are limited. We're supposed to have 11 of such centers. Right now, only one is working on and off.
The albinos, their treatment have been discontinued. As a matter of fact, as we speak, there's one of them who is dying at the National Hospital. He will not be treated.
Though records say 10 people die from cancer every hour, experts say there is hope if regular checks are done. Here again, the cost of such screenings are exaggerated and screening ignored.
You can screen yourself. There are different stages of screening. The first stage is the one you do yourself. You know that what is normal in your body. And so we advise you to check your body at least once a month. I'm not just talking about breast examinations. Everything. If your periods are heavier, if they are lighter, if it's a man, if you're urinating more frequently, or you feel that you go to urinate, all these are screening methods. They're symptoms. I agree that some of these tests are expensive.
Have you done cancer screening before?
Yes, severally, annually.
Yes, I have. Thank you. I've not really had the opportunity to, but definitely after this it's an awareness program. So after this, I don't need to waste time to go and do it. And I advise every woman out there to go out and do her own screening.
October is set aside globally as Cancer Awareness Month. And the message from organizers and participants is that the earlier cancer screening is done, the better. Helen Chukwuwike, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria has advised Nigerians to stop patronizing quacks for building and construction jobs to avoid incidences of collapsed buildings and failed road projects. The inspection officer of Koren in Kogi State, Daniel Adon, gave the advice when he inspected the 16-kilometer Ganaja to Kiti village bypass road. The road was being constructed by the Kogi State government to open up the state capital. Adon said the incidences of collapsed buildings in Nigeria in recent times can be traced to the use of quacks instead of professionals who were conscious of the demand on their profession. Meanwhile, tragedy struck when a portion of a 3-story building in Sapele Road in Benin, the Edo State capital, collapsed killing one person and injuring 3 others. It was gathered that the incident occurred at about 10:30 in the morning. Reports hazard that the victims were pouring concrete on a cantilever projection on the 3rd floor when the framework caved in. It was also linked that they were hired by a contractor to do the job at 3,000 naira per day. The deceased, identified as Mike, sustained a deep cut in the chest when he and his colleagues fell from the 4th floor to the ground. He was said to have been rushed to the hospital, the Central Hospital in Benin, where he was confirmed dead. One of the victims, and a graduate of mechanical engineering from the University of Benin, Sunday Onyovosa, said he was lucky to have survived. The medical team abducted on Friday, October 16, 2015, by yet-to-be-identified kidnappers at Uburu Ekwe in Isu local government area of Imo State have been rescued by the police 8 days after the abduction. Narrating their ordeal to journalists, one of the victims, Ann Osman, said that their freedom was made possible following the incessant police patrol in the area where they were kept. Usman, who is a nurse and works with the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, added that the medical team were abducted on their way to Uburu Ekwe while on a medical mission to the community. She said the free medical exercise was organized by the General Secretary of Nigerian in Diaspora Organization in the Americas, the U.S., Apollos. Wochukunwanu says a young man clad in civil defense regiment with an AK-47 rifle jumped down from the SUV and ordered them to calm down. We'll take another break, and I'll be back with more stories. Do stay with us.
It's a new dawn in Nigeria, and the mantra is change. The wind of change is blowing all over Nigeria and beckons to you. One sure way to respond is to perform your civic duty, pay your tax. With taxes, government generates revenue to fulfill its electoral promises, ensure regular power supply, provide good security, standard education, medical care, true total change. Individuals and corporations enjoy specific benefits, rights and privileges for paying taxes and avoid the consequences and penalties of not paying. Oil revenue is no longer sufficient to bring desired change, but your tax can. It pays to pay your tax. A message from the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
On Business Tonight, Governor Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, has restated the CBN will not devalue the naira anytime soon to revive the nation's falling economy. He said that the bank has had to devalue the currency from 155 naira to 197 naira in February, recalling that even President Buhari and Vice President Yemi Osinbajo have also re-echoed the position of the CBN. He, however, stated that the CBN will soon launch a policy called PAVE, meaning produce locally, add value, and export your product, as well as earning your foreign exchange for your imports.
Considering any further depreciation of the currency, what we are trying to concentrate on right now is how to improve and deepen the foreign exchange market by improving supply of foreign exchange into the market. And to do so, we are trying to encourage people to export and earn your export proceeds and use your export proceeds to import whatever you need to import. We are also concentrating on how to improve, how to reduce the import of items that we can produce in the country today.
How do we make sure that the very poor, people living below $1.25 a day, are included in the formal sector, financial sector in Nigeria? So we're exploring how we could support the government of Nigeria, I think through its conditional cash transfer, getting
financial services for market women, ensuring that smallholder farmers have financial access.
A liquidity stress test conducted by the Central Bank of Nigeria has revealed that capital position of 3 small banks have fallen below regulatory capital requirement. The test contained in the CBN Financial Stability Report showed that the capital adequacy ratios of the affected banks were below the 5% regulatory threshold. The 3 banks, according to the CBN, are not among the domestic systematically important banks, which measured the lenders' positions as of June this year, and showing that the number of banks with the CAR less than 5% also increased from 0 to 3 from December 31, 2014 to June 30, 2015. The CAR is a ratio of a bank's assets to its risks, according to CBN's Director, Financial Policy and Regulation Department. The liquidity stress test was conducted using the implied cash flow analysis and the maturity mismatch rollover risk approaches to assess the resilience of the banking industry to liquidity and funding shocks. Outside Nigeria now, Egyptian officials say a Russian airliner which crashed in central Sinai early today killed all 224 people on board. The Airbus A321, which was traveling from the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh bound for the Russian city of St. Petersburg, crashed a few minutes after takeoff. Its wreckage has been found in the Asana area and bodies removed, along with the plane's black box, with an official describing the scene as a tragic scene with bodies of victims still strapped to seats. Russian President Vladimir Putin has declared Sunday a day of mourning. He has ordered an official investigation into the crash and for rescue teams to be sent to the crash site. Egyptian officials said 214 of the passengers were Russian and 3 Ukraine. A commission headed by Russian Transport Minister Maxim Sokolov is to leave for Egypt later today. A Bangladesh publisher of secular books has been hacked to death in the capital Dhaka, the second attack of its kind today. According to police, Fiasat Dipon was killed at his office in the city center hours after another publisher and 2 secular writers were injured in an attack. They are the latest victims in a series of deadly attacks on secularists since blogger Alvijit Roy was hacked to death by suspected Islamists in February. Both publishers published Roy's work. Mr. Dipon was found dead at the Jagriti Prakashoni Publishing House in his 3rd floor office. Earlier today, armed men burst into the offices of publisher Ahmeda Rashid Tutol. And now to sports stars.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball, storming, Toyo with a flying lead.
Bo taking them out in the lead immediately.
The Nigeria Football Federation (NFF) has put on standby a coach to replace Samson Siasia as head of the country's under-23 team after his media attack against his employers. Siasia has been queried by his employers after he blasted them in the media, accusing them of abandoning his team just a month before crucial 2016 Rio Olympics qualifiers in Senegal. NFF officials have described Siasia's comments in the media as gross misconduct and have moved ahead to place a coach on standby should the under-23 coach not answer the queries satisfactorily. What has irritated the NFF leadership the most is that a top executive committee member met with Siasia to explain the federation's financial situation to him, only for the coach to still go to the media hours later to declare he should not be blamed should the country fail to qualify for next year's Olympics. Siasia is said to be sober after he got the query from his employers, though he's yet to reply. But sources say his reply will be crucial to his continued stay as coach, or if he's relieved of his duties as under-23 team coach. Philippe Coutinho scored a brace as Liverpool came from behind to beat Chelsea 3-1 and increased the pressure on coach Jose Mourinho. Mourinho went into the match amid speculation he could lose his job with a defeat, but the Chelsea supporters made a clear show of support for the manager at the start of the match. The home side responded with a quick-fire goal as Ramirez sent a header past Simon Mignot from Cesar Aklikueta's cross with just 4 minutes played. Liverpool went in search of an equalizer but struggled to truly test Asme Begovic until the final seconds of the half, when Felipe Coutinho created space on the edge of the area before curling a superb shot into the far corner to make it. To end CoreTV Primetime News tonight, another look at our top stars. Reported that President Muhammadu Buhari has mourned late Emir of Bogo, Haliru Dantoro. The Coalition for Campaign Against Corrupt Leaders has called for a probe of the Abuja CCTV project. And thousands of residents of the Federal Capital Territory today joined a 50-kilometer cancer awareness walk. That wraps it on the news tonight. On behalf of everyone here, I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Do have a pleasant night rest.